The Navigating Disability podcast often discusses topics including disability, injury, mental health, and mentions of sensitive issues such as trauma and suicide. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care while listening.
And he's like, this guy needs connection. Get him a dog, right? And then like my parents were like, a dog? That's it, right? He's like, that's the only thing I can come up with. Is just get him a dog,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it was it was a little miniature Fox Terrier, and this thing was my little security guard.
Welcome to the Navigating Disability podcast, where we explore powerful stories, challenges, and triumphs within the disability community. I'm joined by my co-host, Jenn Abbott. Welcome, Jenn.
Hi, Kate and Peter.
Today, we're honoured to have an incredible guest, Peter Dempsey. At just 4 years old, Peter experienced an unexplained stroke that left him unable to walk or talk. The right side of his body became paralysed drastically, changing how he moved and communicated. But that was just the beginning of his story. Now, Peter is a leading disability strategist, consultant, multi-award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, and business owner. He's dedicated his life to breaking barriers, redefining possibilities, and helping businesses create more inclusive spaces. Join us as we dive into Peter's journey, his challenges, his victories, and his mission to change the world for the better, one conversation at a time. Let's get started. Welcome, Peter. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your story.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Tell me about your childhood and the time that everything changed.
Yeah, that was a welcome to life, really.
Absolutely.
And yeah, my whole life changed. My parents, luckily, my parents were very educated. My mum was a nurse and dad was an electronic engineer, and they just wanted answers, right, about what happened, why did it happen, and what could we do about it, and that there was nothing but crickets. There was no literature at that time. And so the only thing through my dad's mind was we'll put energy into it, we'll see what we get out of it. Basis of neuroplasticity. Now, the stroke happened in 91. And it wasn't until about 2006 when neuroplasticity actually came out. So it's well above, well before its time, and it was really challenging. It was very, very challenging navigating like my own thoughts, let alone how to actually connect with my family around me. Very scary because when you can't, let alone like when you can't control your body, you can't control your emotions, or you can't control your own mind, and you're just drifting in and out of like think it was awareness really, and sleeping a lot. So that was for a good 6 to 8 years after that. So
Do you remember the time before the stroke to
no.
compare it to the time after the stroke? So what are your first memories?
My first memories were there's a few glimpses of my dad rushing me to hospital, and I just saw like a complete blur. Um, but I can't remember anything from about I would say about 10, 10 like I can't remember anything before that because I was just a blur. And I I got my friends and close relatives and sisters, because my sisters were around me all the time to piece it together.
And at 10, what do you remember about your life? Do you remember being different? How did it
Yeah.
affect day-to-day living?
So my parents, as soon as I could, yeah, balance and walk, they put me back into school around kids my own age, and I could see I was different. I could they could walk, they could run. I could barely balance, um, and I was visually very, very curious about how did this work, and like why isn't my right arm working, and why can't I talk like them, and like, and I'll just be fascinated with how communication worked, because it's it's extremely because with the stroke I had aphasia. If you don't know what aphasia is, it's a language gap in your brain. So if you wanted to say, I'm sitting on a chair, and your brain can't work out that word or where that word is placed in your brain, it goes to the next associative word, house, car, etc. So your brain would get very confused, and you would get very confused with what you're actually saying in the first place. So, and that's, yeah. So I knew roughly what was going on, and I just really wanted to fit in.
So were you placed in a mainstream school?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, that was my parents uh choosing,
Yeah.
and they thought that the best um experience would be, it would be hard, but the best experience would be around other able-bodied
Yeah.
other
Absolutely.
able-bodied kids
Yeah.
to rub off and to see what I could do, because around an environment like that, I would I would try and work out how I could do it. And like, if they could run, it would be like, okay, I can toss myself and crawl. Or if they did basketball, I would sit down and dribble, right? Because I was participating at least. And there was a few really cool people that got behind me,
Yeah.
and um and suddenly, like, I had friends, and I was like going, great, like, no worries, right? This was cool, because like I wanted to fit in, but I wanted to keep up as well.
Yep.
Like, I could really see there was a huge gap. It was like um um oh, the Grand Canyon of gaps, right? Kind of thing. And I still believe that to this day. There's a huge gap between my potential and where I am now. So
But
Looking
you're
at you now,
striving for greatness though, right?
yeah,
As we all are. Yeah.
looking at you now, Peter, and I hate using the word normal, people would have no idea that you've got a disability. Obviously, that's taken a lot of work from your perspective. What did that look like for you?
it was really a working out what I really wanted to do, what I really wanted to focus on. And I call them, I call it decade choices. You only have about 12 decade choices, right? So you better pick it really well, really, really well. So the first decade was just about actually understanding what was actually going on, right? The second decade, when I was about 13, was about, or 12, 13, was about, right, where I want to focus my energy, and verbal communication. That was the only thing that I really needed to work on. Um, or more than that, it was connection, because I was really deeply working out, like, how connection worked, and how, if I couldn't vocalize, it's like, touch, or uh, and through that, I learnt so much about communication and connection without the words, because the words are just what everyone focuses on. It's more about, um, you can be connected to an animal, right? and the animals don't talk. It's like, how are you connected so deeply to an animal,
So true.
right? So it's like going and by looking and by working out how to become so connected, that's what really helped me move. And that's who actually taught me how to connect. It was when I was about 13, I was really in a bad mentally in a bad place, quite uh, very explosive. And my parents took me to a really good uh, psychiatrist, a neuropsychiatrist, and he just worked, like, he looked at me, he worked with me for a while, and he's like, this guy needs connection. Get him a dog, right? And then, like, my parents were like, a dog? That's it, right? He's like, that's the only thing I can come up with, is just get him a dog,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it was it was a little miniature Fox Terrier, and this thing was my little security guard. He was just around me all the time, right? He looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger of little, right? It's called Harley, and he helped me, like, connect and helped me look outside myself and go, okay, this thing actually needs to be, like, fed and watered and walked and needs some play. And that's what helped work out, okay, this is how to connect with people. It's to serve and to really respect them.
Yeah. And it also shows
And
you that unconditional and no judgment. They just love you for you and
yeah,
you fully accept it. Oh, look, dogs are I love them. Absolutely adore them.
yeah, it was, and you can pick up so much off animals
Yeah.
and things like that. And
Can I just
my two
clarify that we're not telling everyone to go out and buy a dog?
Yes,
no
we
no no
are.
no no
Yes, we
no
are. Everyone, go buy a dog.
we didn't have that through COVID. So
I
um
have one. Through COVID.
yeah, a COVID dog, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then um so after 13 to about 24, I really wanted to work on my career. So, and that was roughly the same time neuroplasticity was coming out, and it was like that the earth completely shook almost, because my parents and I would, like, try with the doctors, going, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we do that? Oh, we're doing this, and where this is how we've taught him to speak, and no one was interested at all,
Mm.
um, until neuroplasticity came, like, that word came out. It's like, oh, the brain is malleable, it's workable, it's plastic, and then everyone was interested, my doctors, my psychiatrists, like, everyone, and I'm like going, fan, this is amazing, right? Like, actually, finally. And that's what got me into mental health, a set four. And luckily, um, like, I'm not sure if you believe in the universe, or, right, like, or
100%.
coincidences,
Mm-hmm. Think we
right?
yeah.
I I at that time I had trouble reading, writing, um, breaking down, processing information, and the teacher there was a 30, he was retiring. He did 25 years as a complex care brain injury nurse, and he was my teacher. And he's like, I know exactly what you're going through. We can work it out. Right. We can work it out. Right. So he changed the curriculum to such an extent. He was actually, there was a few other teachers going, you can't do that. He's like, yes, I can, because I've got the evidence to prove it, why I'm doing it. And he was actually getting blasted by the TAFE at the time. He's like, no, I'll back this. I'll back you, right? Because I know you need it. And he's the one that helped me get through my TAFE. I was actually having arguments with him right, about what about different styles of mental health or complex brain injury, and he was loving it because he's never heard these ways of thinking before, and that's what got me my first job at the State Board of Complex Needs. So I turned the boss there. Got notified by my teacher going like, can I have your thoughts? Because I have a little obnoxious student that won't stop like with this point. And the boss was like, oh, I actually agree with him. Right. So who is he? Right. After the third or fourth time, he's like, who is this guy? And um the from TAFE, I got my enrollment there. So 6 week work experience. And then I was dealing with severe complex brain injury. I was just looking around, working out what was going on. And most of the patients had a day memory, right? So everything would reset after a day. And then after the 6 weeks, I moved on. But about 8 months later, the boss from there gives me a call and goes, "Hey Peter, can you come back? Can you come work for this branch? All right, our clients still remember you. For some reason, our clients, every single one of them still remembers you, right? Every single person you contacted. We don't know why, we don't know how, but can you come back and work with us? And because there is something with what you're actually doing."
Well, it's definitely the word connection comes to mind.
Right.
Around, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I did for a few years, and then I realized that people need to understand how the brain works and how neuroplasticity works and how gentle but powerful the brain can be. So I got into entrepreneurship. At the time, I didn't even know what the word was. I was like, oh, you can create your own reality, and you can create your own life, and you can create your own job. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I'm kind of doing that now, right? Kind of work my way through, and that's how it got sold to me. It's like I don't even know what an entrepreneur was, but it's like that sounded pretty cool, and I was like, I need to get. I've seen where the brain can go, like when it's very very complex, when it's lost its way. Where can it go when it's found its way, and how do you optimize the brain to such a higher level? And that's when I got into professional speaking, because I thought that would be the place where people would gravitate to learn how to speak better. And I've been doing that for a decade now. I teach people how to speak professionally now, on a side gig with my mentor, and I think that run has been really good.
So amazing, because you came from, you weren't able to communicate, and now you're helping people communicate.
Yeah.
So it's such a polar opposite. So your journey has come such a long way, and I know this is probably going to be a very hard question. Who do you think's your greatest source of support or inspiration through your journey to date? Whether that's, obviously mum and dad have been key drivers in supporting you and getting answers, but you've thrown in teachers and those types of things. Who do you think has impacted you the most to drive you forward to where you are today? Told you it was a hard question.
That's a good question.
But you've come so far, so they're just those moments in time.
Yeah, there's not one specific like person. Everyone's helped out in a dramatic way.
Yep.
And I think if I pinned it down to one person, that's like taken away from everything else. So, and that's the way life works, right? It's like it's like a spider web of talent. And if you're connected, or if something happens over here, the whole spider web feels it. And by looking at it that way, and by going, the way I have, is quite unique. But
It almost sounds
yeah,
like everyone's played a different part in your journey when
yeah,
you needed.
yeah. I mean, both my sisters, like my sisters as well. Like, when my sisters when we were kids, my sisters would be a pain in the ass, and
That's their job, let's be honest.
and I understand that granted that they're sisters, granted the sisters, right? But if it wasn't for my sister, like when I was in a wheelchair, playing with my toy cars, and like right in front of me, and me being like, this was for days, right? She annoyed me, like, and until I found out a way to balance and push myself out the chair, and bit her on the arm, and she just screamed and ran to mum, and mum goes, "What happened?" Right, and is racing in the lounge room and sees me on the ground laughing, right, and my toy cars around me. She's like, "Right, you're okay, you're safe." But if it wasn't for that moment, I I don't think I would have got how frustration can lead to drive, which can lead to passion.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't want to hurt her, right? But she was pissing me off.
Absolutely.
Right.
And behavior is always a result of something in the background.
As I say to my children, it's there'll always be a reaction from an action. So you choose it, how you want to play it. So, because they fight like cat and dogs as well. So that's normal.
Yeah. So, and I mean, my sister, my sisters now, like, are both in the disability sector. My older sister, my sister's one's a speech pathologist, and the other one's an advocate. So,
and do you think that's as a result of their experience with you, growing up with you?
Yeah, partly. And they've become who they've become because they see a need in inclusion, because it was very hard for me, but very hard for them as well. My parents' attention would go to me because I was demanding it more.
And let's be clear, you needed it more.
Oh, like I needed it, right? And the attention on them. So it would be, it's become a family thing, that someone with a disability goes through. And there is a mountain of challenges which goes on within the mind of someone with a disability. It's like, we have like guilt of like they're helping me too much, and frustration. It's like I really want to. I know what to do, but I just can't do it. And is there an easy way? Is there a better way? Is there a quicker way? And with all the misinformation that's coming out now online and on social media, it just is a different. It's just different playing conditions at the moment, and it will be different playing conditions in the future. So
yeah, we're definitely in a different world now with all the technology and things like
correct.
that. We have access.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to go back to, I've written down a couple of things that I want to talk about.
Sure.
At school, did you ever, I'm going to say suffer, I don't know if that's the right word, any bullying or being made to feel less because you were different?
Yeah.
And how did you cope with that?
My dad was a martial artist. So he taught me how to um yeah, he was a martial artist, taught me a few things. But he's like only use that on the mat.
Hmm.
Um and considering I was as strong as him when I was like 10 with my left hand, because that's my like I can only use one hand very well. Um, yeah, I was about 100 kilos. Yeah, I could do a lot of damage if I hit someone. Um, so yeah, he's like I didn't hit anybody. Um, I wanted to. Um, it was tough because I didn't communicate, couldn't answer back. Um, even when the teachers came, I couldn't find the words to respond myself. It would take too long, and then I'll get frustrated, which would take longer. Um, but the I, at the time, I just bottled it up, right? And I kept bottling it up, um, kind
And
of
is
thing.
that where the anger came from that you talked about, where you were
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
angry? Yeah, okay.
Correct, correct. Right. So I bottled it up, wait till dad was home, let it out.
Poor
Um,
dad.
right. Yeah, yeah, poor dad. Um, yeah, so it was really hard. We got uh I got through it in any way I could. Um, the how I would deal with it now would be have a few yeah different strategies, different uh, I call them game plays, like you know how a gridiron or AFL or netball you have plays. Um, this happens right. You say that. Um, get that squared away now. But now it's a different time because now we have video cameras. All right, everyone has a video camera. So if there's bullying, it's videoed,
Mm.
which people don't really want to be seen bullying a kid with a disability, right? Will go completely viral. Um, so yeah, um, yeah, so that's what it's a different time now to when I was a kid.
When you talked about your visits to the doctors and psychiatrists and so forth, did you feel like you were almost a lost cause, like there was no future for you until you proven them wrong?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I definitely felt like that because they were um, there either was a we don't know what to do. So, and my parents got offers to take me to a home, um, which they didn't want to. Uh, or you would have this absolute confident as doctor. He's like, I know the very cause. Um, Trust me and spend $10,000 with me, and I can fix it. And so, yeah, like my parents go, well, at least he has the attitude of someone who actually understands. And yeah, so they went down that route. So the the other thing is doctors who or healthcare professionals who think they understand more than the person with the abilities or their families. Um, that's something I honestly don't appreciate, really. Um, and I've still been having that conversation with like world experts. I mean, now I have a few experts in neuroscience. Like they're probably the leading experts globally on how the brain actually works and how the brain actually heals and recovers through trauma, etc. And they still go like, we only know a fathom of how that works, especially when you've had a young stroke or a young brain injury, that the brain rewires itself so much that we have no idea what's doing what. So to say, yes, I know what's going on with your brain, and it's like, no, like that's overconfidence, and this is where I get into cognitive biases or blind spots within your mind. We every single person, we have about 250 blind spots, natural blind spots within our minds. And a disability or brain injury or stroke just amplifies that a little bit further. So, or a little bit further or a lot further. And we, like, personally need to watch out for them, because they can be, they can cause quite a bit of trouble within our lives.
From my perspective, and I talk to clients all the time about this, people tend to trust the specialists. They've got a lot of experience, a lot of education and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very strong on everybody has potential, and no matter where that potential is, it might be down here or it might be up here, but everyone has a right to reach their potential.
Yep.
And to trust your gut. Like, I'm generally talking to parents of children, but you know your child best. And I suppose coming from your position, you know yourself best. Really trust what's inside of you when talking to these people.
100, spot on. With mums, especially in particular, mums have 16 areas of the female's brain actually lights up when there's actually there's micro expressions, facial micro expressions, right? So, and this is where they think the women's gut intuition comes in. It's like, I can feel there's something off here. I can't explain it. Yep. I can feel there's something off. And like, when you get back to the science, right? Yeah, it's actually the body telling them that there's actually something wrong. Men, or the male brains, right? They only have 6, right? 6 areas of the brain that light up. Women have 12 to 16 areas. So yeah, it's around that gut intuition. Now, if doctors and the way the healthcare system or the system is geared, they want to be like the one in charge, because it's easier, right? It's easier, it's simpler. You come in, you go out, it's quicker. It's like a process of what's going on, and you get more money when it's like that. So when you have someone who's very educated, knows their rights, knows what's wrong, right? It's a lot longer, and you need a doctor who actually, really takes care and likes that interaction and likes that connection. They might not get as much money, but they will create more of an impact. And there's a lot of doctors around now which are waking up to that.
And that's so interesting. I'd never heard it explained to me like that. From my own experiences, I really didn't learn to trust my gut until my children were diagnosed with autism, and then I had to keep going, it doesn't feel right. But I really need you to talk to my husband, because he's very analytical and he has to have all the data, whereas I'll sit there and go, no, it doesn't feel right, but I have no evidence. So he finds it very difficult to trust me on my feelings, because there's no evidence of that. So that was that something I learned. So I really thank you for that. Has there ever been a time when you felt like giving up? it's all too hard?
Yeah, a lot. And yeah, going uh, through this journey and going on it as long as I have, um, there is bound to be some times where you feel like giving up. But and I actually tried for about 2, 3 months of not doing anything. I just gave up. I just like, nah, this sucks. I'm going to stay in bed, and I reckon I was there for about 2 or 3 months, right? Just not doing anything. I have the pension, or I had the pension. Um, my rent was covered. I could just pay the food. Sweet, no worries. So I just stayed there and didn't do anything. And then about 2 months later, got really bored, right? So bored that like nothing seemed to fill that gap. And I was like, right. So I've given up. I've tried my hardest to give up.
And I'm over it
Um,
now.
I'm over it now. This is real boring. This is real frustrating, right? Like not doing anything. And I've tried giving up everything, and I still wasn't happy. I still wasn't fulfilled. And at least when I was doing stuff, and I don't know, 9 times I would make it worse, but that one time I made it better. It's like, great, I made something better. And then I worked out the process of making it better, and then I've just been refining that ever since. So
what advice? Oops, sorry, Kate. What advice would you give someone who just feels like giving up then? What would your key piece of advice be for them out in the community?
So there's a few there's a few different ways I found of how to give up, right? So I won't say on here just like, yeah, just try it, right? Because you don't know where the person is, right? If you're thinking on giving up from like work or with friends, or you're really trying to do something and you just aren't cracking it, the best advice I can give, right, is put it on pause, take a back step, breathe for a bit, right? Get into your body, go into nature. Actually, there was a study out in Japan, I think it was released late last year, that 3 hours walking in nature every week is as good as 60. It improves the mood by 60%, and it's about 10% more than anything on the pharmaceutical market. So just a walk in nature, 3 hours will just reset and actually help your body improve a lot more. But yeah, just take a back step, just put it on ice for a sec.
And just breathe.
Just breathe and get into your body and really learn how to be calm and present. And I've found by doing that over and over and over again, it's really helped a lot because it helps me think better, think clearer, be more imaginative, have better ways of going forward. So it might be that you're stuck, but if you just take a break, and you come back at it from a different perspective or a different angle, etc., you actually can do a lot more. If you're thinking about giving up on life, I would really talk to someone, talk to a specialist, get around other people that you really trust, and you don't have to let them know, just be there. Just be around other people. Be there. And you can eventually reach out to someone. So
I'm a firm believer that a problem shared is a problem halved.
100%. Right. And my friends now, they really like my problems, because they can go, oh, they're like, you can just see their minds absolutely light up. They're like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? And I get actually more energy from people actually getting really excited. It doesn't matter what about. It just, yeah, people getting really excited stimulates me to go, right, let's go.
And it's infectious. You know, that energy and excitement is infectious.
100%. 100%.
What are some misconceptions about living with a disability that you wish more people or the community understood?
Yeah, people living with a disability, it's like playing life on hard mode, right? Having a disability is like playing life on hard mode. So playing Super Mario, but it's always on the like 20th level when you start, right? So there's a lot of different levels behind what's actually going on that you aren't aware of. So how to communicate, for instance, right? Let's talk about communication. There's what you think you're going to say, what you actually do say, right? And then it's how I interpret it, how I think you've said it, then what I say for a response. Then so we're constantly going through this loop, and each one of those could be slightly off, or you have different beliefs, or I have different beliefs, or we have different intentions about the communication, right? And just that process is a lot to comprehend for our brains. Walking, moving, connecting with others. I mean, at the moment, well, through life, I've really taken a really big serious in other people with disabilities, because it's about how their brain works. So someone that is blind, for instance, they have super senses in the other areas, right? And it's like, if you want to improve yourself, that's the person I would like to stay around. If you want to learn how to control your emotions, so someone with a brain injury, right? Because 70% of people with brain injuries have damaged frontal lobes, right? And frontal lobes is the controlling mechanism of your emotions. So it'll be harder for people with frontal lobe injuries to control their emotions. So by hanging out with them, you can actually work out how to control your emotions a lot better, because it's going to work on you 20 times better than it will them. Because everything for them is playing life on hard mode. And now you can work out with each other. You can work out different strategies or different techniques through it. Because if you help them out, you help out yourself dramatically. And that's one of the ways how I've